Nunchuk is one of the most fully featured mobile Bitcoin wallets that I have ever used, and they haven't stopped rolling out features. In fact, they've just added something called Miniscript, which gives you granular control over multi-sig wallets so that you can keep your stack safe, and you may even be interested in using this feature to pass on your Bitcoin to loved ones. Today, we're going to take a look at the new Miniscript feature, how to use it, and why it's important to you. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session. So as I said, today we're going to be dealing with Nunchuk Wallet, and we're going to be setting up a multi-sig wallet, which uses Miniscript. And we're going to be discussing all those bits and pieces, odds and ends. But let's start with any prerequisites that will be helpful for you to navigate this tutorial. So of course, we're going to be using this Nunchuk Wallet on mobile. I have done an in-depth tutorial on how to use all of the different features of Nunchuk. This is focusing specifically on the topic at hand, which is Miniscript as it pertains to a multi-sig wallet. So if you need to get up to date on Nunchuk in general and you want a deeper dive of all the stuff it can do, you can of course check out my video. I'll link down below. They also do have services for automated inheritance planning and all of that, which I myself use. Highly recommend you check out that video as well. Now, that will be linked in the show notes, but also we're going to be using some hardware to set up our multi-sig wallet today. And the hardware I'll be using is the Tapsigner. This is just a little card. It's the same size as a credit card, but it's NFC, meaning you tap it to the phone in order to approve transactions. So I'm going to be using a couple Tapsigners today in this example. Of course, Nunchuk supports a whole bunch of different types of hardware, and depending on the hardware you use, it may or may not support Miniscript. So you're going to want to take a peek at that from your hardware provider. It will work with Tapsigner. And then, of course, I quite like the Cold Card Q, and just for ease of use, I'm using Tapsigners today so that we can focus on the Miniscript portion of it. So either way, I have a full video on how to use Tapsigner as well that details and shows you exactly how to do that. So with that, some other prerequisites. Let's talk first about multisig, and then let's talk about Miniscript, just to get those two terms out of the way. A multi-sig wallet, you can think of it as a digital vault that requires multiple keys to open. So you're storing your Bitcoin within this digital vault, and you have many keys associated with this. You can have varying thresholds of keys that are required to unlock that vault. So common setup that somebody might have is they have 3 keys, aka the vault has 3 keyholes, and it requires at least 2 of those keys to be used simultaneously to open the vault and remove money. You can deposit at any time, but you need 2 keys to unlock. When it comes to Miniscript, it allows you to go beyond just there's X number of keys and you need at all times at least 2 to unlock it. You can actually build things that have time locks involved. And what I mean is, in that example, we had 3 keys and 2 are required to unlock. But you could have a condition that after X amount of time, maybe you've lost some keys, you are only required to use 1 key to unlock the funds, as long as they haven't been moved for, say, a year or something like that. And so this allows you to hedge against mistakes. It allows you to prevent a catastrophic loss if you were to misplace 2 of those keys. Well, as long as you wait to the right threshold and you guard that 1 key, then you can unlock your funds and move. You can have all types of configurations with this, and I'll detail some other options at the end of the video. But for now, we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at how to set this up kind of from scratch, brand new Nunchuk setup with 2 Tapsigners that have been set up themselves. So if you're unfamiliar with Tapsigner, you want to learn more, check out that video down below. But we'll just start it as 2 pieces of hardware using Nunchuk to import the keys that we are going to be using with this digital vault, and then set up the conditions under which they can be used. All right, so here I am on Nunchuk Wallet. I've just downloaded it brand new, and it bumps us to our main screen here. In this example, I'm not going to use any sort of an account. We're just going to set this up as a guest. There are some benefits to using an account. And again, you can do that as anonymously as you like. You can set up a dummy Google account or use any email you choose specifically for this purpose. Besides the point, go check out the other Nunchuk video if you want to dive into that. But for now, we're going to click on continue as guest. This is going to take us to our main screen where we can add keys. Now, Nunchuk allows you to use hotkeys, meaning a key that lives on the device that you are using, or you can use cold storage, which would be something like the Tapsigner, where the key is not on the phone, which gives you additional security because somebody would need the key itself, which is stored in a secure location. We're going to be using two Tapsigners in this instance. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add keys or multiple keys here. And that's one of the notifications it gives us right on the home screen. Now, if you're dealing with a previously used Nunchuk wallet, you would just navigate to keys down at the bottom to add any keys you want to use. I'll do that for right now. I'll hit keys. I'm going to hit add key. We're going to choose Tapsigner, and we're going to add it via NFC. And again, as I said, these Tapsigners are already set up. Again, check out the video if you want to see more on the details of initially setting these up. But these ones already have a pin and everything associated with them. So I'm going to hit add tap via NFC, and we'll hit continue here. And now I'm taking the card and tapping it to the back of my phone. It says we need a name for the key. On the front of this key, it has mempool.space, which is a website. So I'm just going to call it mem. I'll hit continue. And then I enter the PIN of the card. Again, these are demo units, so I have a really simple PIN for them. And then I need to tap the card one more time to the back of my phone. And there we go. So we've imported key number one. I'll hit done. And then I'm going to go up to the top right. I'm going to hit plus to add a new key. The other card that I'm using, I'm going to choose Tapsigner again, add via NFC and hit continue. And once again, I'm going to take the second card, tap it to the back of the phone. I'm going to name it. On the front of it, there's a honey badger. So I'm just going to call this one HB. I'll hit continue. I'll enter the PIN here. And then once again, I'll tap the card to the back of the phone and hold it there. Important that you actually hold while it's working. And there we go. I'll hit done. And now we have two keys. And in this example, I'm just going to be using two keys for simplicity's sake so that you have a good idea of exactly what we're doing. We're not going to complicate it too much, but I will talk over some options as we continue on. So we'll navigate back home. And there we go. So we now have two keys that Nunchuk Wallet is aware of. The key material itself still resides on these cards. All that's known is publicly available information about these keys. So just it has identified that I own two keys, but the keys weren't copied into Nunchuk in any way. I still require the cards in order to approve transactions. So up next, we're going to use these keys and we're going to create ourselves a multisig wallet. All right, so just from the main screen here, because we don't have an existing wallet, we're going to hit on create new wallet. Otherwise, there would be a little plus sign that we could hit just like we did with the second key. So create new wallet. We have lots of different options here: custom, group, hot wallet, and then down below, decoy wallet, group wallet, all these different things. But Miniscript, we'll see, is here now. And it says build custom spending rules with signatures, time locks, and hash locks. A whole bunch of interesting language that may sound like Greek to you. That's okay. Let's click on Miniscript. And so we're going to give this a name. I'll just call it MS test, Miniscript test. And I'm going to leave the address type as default. I'm not going to play around with that. I'll just hit continue. Okay, Miniscript is a structured language for writing Bitcoin scripts in a more efficient composable, and analyzable way. It simplifies complex spending conditions by allowing logical combinations of signatures, time locks, and hash locks. With Miniscript, users can create flexible wallet rules while ensuring security and compatibility with Bitcoin's scripting system. This makes it ideal for advanced multisig setups, automated recovery mechanisms, and custom wallet logic. That's just some fancy speak for saying you can customize this however you want. So we're going to hit continue. Okay, so we have some options here. We can have an expanding multisig, a decaying multisig, or a flexible multisig, or you can enter some custom Miniscript here or a custom file. We are definitely not doing that today. That would be expert level. I'm not about to code up my own Miniscript wallet. So it does give us a couple default options and then some flexibility to really do whatever we want here. So what I would like to do is I would like to create a decaying multisig. It means that over time, without a movement of funds, we will require less keys to access the money, meaning that if I make a mistake and I'm unable to do anything with the wallet, eventually with any one key, I will be able to access my money. Okay, so I'm going to choose decaying multisig as the example here. And so it says here, spending rules until this date and time. Spending requires signatures from and there's the ability to edit, 2 of 3 multisig, the example I explained. After that, spending requires either the same 2 of 3 multisig or a 1 of 3 multisig, meaning only 1 key required. And so there's a couple different ways to set this up. One, we can change the date. I'm going to make the date sometime in a short period of time, maybe like an hour from now, so that we can see the decaying multisig. Okay, so let's change this. Absolute time unlock after a fixed point, specific date or block. Relative time unlocks after a set period from the time the coins are received. Transfers within the same wallet will reset the time lock. Timestamp unlock after a specific Unix timestamp. Block height unlock after a specific block number. So we can go and we can choose a specific date and time. That's probably the easiest way to do it so you're not confused with what you're doing. So this is my time zone indeed, identified here. And what date do I want? So I'm going to choose a date. Today is the 16th when I'm recording this. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to choose a time. It is, well, it's around this time right now. So I'm going to say just an hour ahead. Okay. And then I'm going to hit OK. So that's about an hour from now. I'm going to hit save. Okay. So an hour from now, but for the next hour, signatures from a 2 of 3 multisig. Now I want to change this. I only have 2 keys. Okay. So we're going to change it. The total number of keys is 2, and we're going to require both of them to unlock. Again, this is just a hypothetical setup. 2 of 3 is better because there's more fault tolerance there. You can lose 1 key and still use the multisig. Again, just an example that we're doing here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save that. So until an hour from now, spending will require signatures from a 2 of 2 multisig. After that, spending could require either the same 2 of 2 multisig or a 1 of 2 multisig, meaning that there is 2 keys and I could use either of them. Now, I have an option. I can have this as 2 completely different keys. So I could go and I could add a couple other keys and say, after an hour, either one of these keys will allow me to unlock. Or I could change that to whatever. Required keys, edit multisig policy, whatever I want. Or I can have a 1 of 2 multisig and I can say reuse the keys across the policies, meaning the same 2 keys are the same 2 keys here. I just only need 1 of them. So you can either have 2 new keys completely separate from these ones, or these other two keys. I'm going to say to reuse these keys just for simplicity's sake. Again, I'm going to hit continue. So this is the Miniscript. I am not going to mess with this. Just leave it. You can customize if you're smarter than I. I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so it says, all right, this is the initial policy. There's two keys, and it's a 2 of 2. But after a set amount of time that we see designated here, it's a 1 of 2 multisig, and it tells me which keys those are going to be. We're going to add those keys right now from the already added keys in the wallet. Add, let's do the mempool one, add the existing key. I'm going to enter the PIN and confirm, and then it asks me one more time to tap the appropriate to the back. Perfect. And you can see it's added not only here, but here because I'm reusing the keys across both sets of conditions. Okay, let's do the same thing with the other one. Add. We'll do the Honey Badger one. Add existing key. We'll put in the PIN. And then we'll tap to the back of the phone. And there we go. It fills in both keys because I've opted for the same two keys in both policies. So we're going from a 2 of 2 and then after an hour down to a 1 of 2, or after this specific time. I'll hit continue. It gives me a review. This is what you're doing. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Okay, a quick review of what I've got in front of me. 2 keys, 2 of 2 right here. After a set time that I've agreed upon, it will become a 1 of 2 with the same keys across both. And we'll hit continue. One last review. Everything looks good. Okay. And we'll hit create wallet. Now, this is a good idea to save. This is a file. You can think of it kind of like a map to your digital vault. You've got keys to unlock it, but you need to know where the vault is. Now, the map was actually constructed from little bits of information of each key. So even if you lost the map, technically speaking, as long as you have both keys, you can recreate the map. But if you were to, say, delete this app off of your phone and you lost one of the keys at the same time, then you still wouldn't be able to unlock with the one key, even after the multisig decays. You need to know where the vault is. Again, a lot has to go wrong for that to happen, but it's a good idea to just save this file. And this file, nobody can steal your money with this file. Again, it's just a map to the vault. It's not the keys to enter the vault. So you can save this file wherever you like. I'm going to, I'll just share it and I'll send it to myself on a messenger app. Okay, and now we are bumped into the main wallet. So we can see MS test, we can see a balance in Bitcoin and dollars up top, obviously zeroed out. Send and receive buttons, our first receiving Bitcoin address. Eventually, when we receive some money here, this will disappear and show our prior transactions instead down below. And if we want new addresses to receive to, we just hit the receive button. Outside of that, there's some additional features, but I'm not going to dive into those right now. We're just going to see the functionality of the wallet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send over some Bitcoin into this wallet. Now, this could be you've purchased some Bitcoin on an exchange and you send it into your Bitcoin address from the exchange. So you give them this information down below, this here, copy address. Or it could be you have Bitcoin sitting somewhere else in your own wallet and you send it from that wallet to this one as the more secure option. That's a possibility as well. If you don't know how to obtain Bitcoin, I'll link to where you can do that down below. So you can watch an example of an exchange where you can purchase Bitcoin. But if you're doing multisig, I'm assuming maybe you've done some Bitcoin transactions already. And I will entrust you to that. So I'm going to take my Bitcoin address here. I'm going to jump over to another Bitcoin wallet and send some. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. Okay, so here I am in another wallet called Sparrow Wallet. I use this often, and this is my desktop for tutorial wallet. So I've got some funds in here. I'm going to be sending over to a Bitcoin address that is here in Nunchuk, this one that ends in K3. We can see it pasted here. And I'm sending over 50,000 sats. Maybe I'll just bump the fee a little bit to make sure it goes quickly, but I'll just hit the blue buttons here and broadcast it. So that goes off relatively quickly, and we should see an update here in pretty short order of a balance sitting in that wallet. And there we go already. So we can see 0.0005 Bitcoin. That's around 58 bucks at the time of this video. And it says, hey, your time lock is expiring in 1 day. View coins. And so I can see that these funds are here. If I hit view coins, so let's look at here where we see the coins. It shows us that we've got this coin that we've just received, this 0.0005 Bitcoin, or $58 here. It tells us that we have 1 day left until it's going to not only require 2 keys, it's actually going to only require 1 key, whichever one we want to use. So it's advising us, hey, this will be less secure in this period of time. We've obviously set a low threshold because we want to be able to do this a little quicker. And it also says that absolute time locks can't be reset. After expiry, consider moving funds to a new wallet with the same policies if you want to reuse them. So what this means is no matter what I do, these spending policies, they expire. The 2 of 2 multisig expires in a day, no matter what. You can have it set so that every time you move your funds, even internally in the same wallet, it resets. So maybe you set it so it's always a year in advance that it can be moved with just 1 key. If you move the funds, even from one address to another that you own in the same wallet, it bumps forward that time threshold. So maybe you still have 6 months left. You move your coins to a new address in the same wallet. Well, now you have another year. It resets it to a year. So these are some of the cool settings. But nonetheless, we have our funds sitting there. We can go back out of the coin section. Let's try spending. So I'm going to send, we'll call it half of this back to the other wallet. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit send. And let's see. We're going to go 0.00025. So half of the Bitcoin I want to send back. Okay. So we've got that. We'll hit continue. Now we need an address. So I'll go over and get out of here. I'll get a receive address. And I'll just copy it here. And I will paste that in. Double check. That looks good to me. Okay, and I can give it a note. We sent it to Sparrow. Sure, that works. And now we're going to, we can just hit create transaction, or if we want to adjust the fee, then we can customize. It says, hey, this is, just so you know, this is coming from your multisig. Yep, that looks good. We'll hit the manual fee rate. I'm just going to bump it a little bit just in case. Okay. And then I will hit continue. We've got a summary. You're sending this much Bitcoin to this address. Here's your fee. Here's the total amount you're spending. You're going to get some change back into your wallet. Here's your transaction note, says Sparrow. And we're using this coin. And that coin is part of a time lock with our multisig. I'm going to confirm. And now we have the ability to sign and approve. Notice it requires 2 signatures. This option is not yet available. It is grayed out. And if it was available, we'd be able to pop it down and just sign with one of the keys. But that's not available to us. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hit with the top one, sign. It asks for the PIN. And it asks me to tap the card to the back of the phone. Approved. We need one more signature. With the other card, I'm going to sign, enter the PIN, and then tap the card to the back of the phone. There we go. So we now have 2 signatures, and all we need to do is hit that broadcast button. And off the transaction goes. We should see the transaction pop in. There we go. 25,000 sats into Sparrow Wallet, and we're done. If we jump back, we can take a look, and in our main wallet, we have an outgoing transaction pending confirmations, but we were able to approve it with 2 keys required. So now it's just a little waiting game, and we'll be back when our multisig decays, and we will try signing with just one of these keys. Now some time has passed, and we should be in the phase where our multisig has now decayed, meaning that we no longer require both keys to approve a transaction. We can actually see that if we go to view coins within this wallet here, we can see that the time lock timeline shows that it is now unlocked, this particular coin here. And so what we can do is we can actually create a transaction and use just one of the Tapsigners to approve it. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the send button here. We'll just send all of the money out of the wallet at this point, and I'll hit continue. Now for the recipient address, I'm actually just going to hit the scan button up top, and we'll scan a wallet address that I have here on my computer. So I'll scan that really quick, and we'll jump back, and it has been filled in. Gave it a quick little once over. It looks good to me. I can add a transaction note. I'm going to leave that blank for now. And then we can customize the transaction. When I customize, it does give some specifics here. Hey, like you can use either policy to spend. The first one, the 2 of 2 multisig, or you could use the 1 of 2 with the same 2 keys after this date. And so, I can go ahead, I can select which one I want to use. I can leave it as all. I'll just click the second option, just if I want to. You don't have to go through these steps, just so you know. I'll hit continue. And then it says, okay, what's your fee? And here we have our summary of what exactly we are doing. So sending to this address, this is the fee, this is the total amount, these are the coins we're using. And so we can confirm and create transaction. And now we are on the screen where it says pending signatures. And we actually have options. We can sign with the 2 signatures, the original multisig, or we can give now unlocked, we can choose our second set of conditions, which would be either of these keys. And remember that we had some options. These could have been different keys or the same original keys, but here we are. And so I'm going to just sign with one of these. I'll do, what have I got in my hand here? The Honey Badger one. So I'm going to click on sign. I'm going to enter the PIN for the card and hit confirm. And then I will tap the card to the back of my phone here. And we now have a signature, and it shows, see, because it's the same card, I did sign, it does show signed in both, but now, because the second set of conditions is met, I have enough signatures to approve the transaction. So I don't need this additional signature up for the previous set of conditions because I've met the secondary set of conditions which were unlocked after the time lock expired. So I can simply now hit broadcast transaction. And here in Sparrow, we see the transaction coming in, and there it is. We've received the remaining sats into the wallet. And we've successfully used the second set of conditions in our decaying multisig. So let's take some time to break down the different types of Miniscript templates you have to choose from here in Nunchuk. And we'll cover the three that I originally talked about or mentioned in passing, as well as a brand new one that has just been added over the course of me recording this video. So let's start with the one that we did, the decaying multisig. So the important thing to hear is hone in on what is changing and what is remaining the same in any Miniscript multisig setup. With a decaying multisig, you have a total number of keys. The total number of keys involved in the multisig remains constant. They do not change. But the required number of keys to unlock your digital vault changes and reduces over time. So in our instance, we had 2 keys. Initially, you needed both keys to unlock the vault, but after a set amount of time, it reduced the number of keys required to 1. So the same total number of keys available remained the same, but you needed less of them to unlock the funds. With an expanding multisig, this is a little bit different. The total number of keys available to use grows over time. So let's look at it from our example again. We had 2 keys and both keys were required, or at least 2 keys of the full 2 were required to unlock the vault. What you could have happen is over time, after a certain threshold, an additional key is available to be used with the setup. So before it was 2 of 2 keys, but it could become 2 of 3 keys, so that if you had lost one of the keys, there would be a third key that becomes available to use after a certain threshold of time. So it's expanding, and you could potentially add more keys than that make it easier to unlock. Now, again, the decaying means total number of keys remains constant and the required number of keys reduces over time out of the total. Expanding multisig means total number of keys grows over time. So you have more key options available over time. With a flexible multisig, this means that either of those parameters could change. The total number of keys can grow, or the total number of keys required to approve a transaction can shrink, and both of these things can be dynamic rather than just one. So you're kind of taking the concepts of expanding multisig and decaying multisig, and you can combine them and use them however you see fit for flexible, which is really, really cool. Now, the last addition here is this new option called Zen HODL. And I'll read the description first. Lock coins immediately when deposited and only allow spending after the time lock expires. So this specifically is for those that want to set it and forget it and say, I am holding this for an extended period of time. This is long-term savings. I do not want the option to touch this for a set amount of time, forcing you to hodl, forcing you to save, so that if maybe you don't have the best abilities when it comes to impulse control, well, this will take care of that for you. As soon as you deposit, it is frozen. And one example of a use case for the Zen HODL that would apply to more than just impulse control, in certain jurisdictions, there are periods of time where if you don't move your money or do anything with it, after a certain period of time, it is exempt from capital gains tax. And some people in these jurisdictions, they will intentionally avoid self-custody because it becomes difficult to prove that you have not moved or swapped or done anything that would denote that you haven't just been holding it in a dedicated way. Whereas with Zen HODL, you could set that threshold to a year plus, which then, in certain jurisdictions like, say, Japan, where it exempts it from capital gains tax, but you still have full self-custody, and you can prove cryptographically that those funds have not moved from their initial purchase into the wallet and have stayed sound and in place, haven't moved wallets even, no ability to swap or trade or do anything. And you can prove that and then, again, be exempt from that capital gains tax in that particular jurisdiction. So that can be a compelling reason. But again, also another compelling reason is just keeping those coins from moving around and preventing yourself from making dumb decisions based on nothing more than price fluctuation. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With Nunchuk's Honey Badger plan, you get state-of-the-art multisig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. Nunchuk is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The Honey Badger plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like Tapsigner, Coldcard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the Honey Badger plan. Debify is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Coldcard Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? Aqua Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. Aqua also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, Aqua is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download Aqua Wallet today. Now, I just want to quickly cover recovering your Miniscript wallet, and we're going to do so using the BSMS file that we backed up earlier. And so just so you know, when it comes to a multi-sig wallet, there's a couple things to keep in mind. The BSMS file, or the descriptor file, is basically, it's kind of like a map to your digital vault that you have created. And once you get to the vault, you can then use the keys you have to unlock it. Now, the map itself is created from little bits of information of each key involved with it. And so when you create your digital vault, as long as you have the map and you have enough keys to unlock it, you can unlock it. But if you lose the map or you don't have a spare copy of the map, you need to recreate it with all of the keys. So the only instance in which you can truly screw up and lose access is if you lose, one, either enough keys to unlock it, or two, the map and one of the keys. So you have to really mess up quite a bit, because typically with a key, you also have a backup to the key. You have like a device and a backup to the device. So the whole thing is built around redundancy and fault tolerance, meaning you can screw up and still be okay, but it is a good idea to keep a backup of this file somewhere, and somewhere external to the device that it's on. So I've deleted the wallet here from Nunchuk, but the copy of the map was in Nunchuk itself, but I also exported it. So you can save that to the cloud or wherever, and then you've just got a spare copy of your map. But nonetheless, we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to recover our wallet. So we're going to say create new wallet, and then we're going to choose recover existing wallet. and we're going to choose with BSMS or descriptors. And so this is going to open up our file system here. And actually, this is the file right there. I'm going to click on it, and it asks you to name it once again. So we'll just call it MS tests. I believe that's what we named it before. It doesn't really matter. And then I'll go ahead and hit continue. And then it says, hey, look, here's your wallet config. It's been recovered. Everything's good to go. So I can X out, and I now see it again. Now, I didn't remove the keys. In this instance, the keys are still here and viewable in the wallet. But if you didn't, if this was like a new phone or something, you would then add the keys to the key section. And just as you did the initial time, add a key, put in the pin, tap, all that kind of stuff. So there we have it. We've got access to our wallet once again, and we can also see the wallet history and everything. So perfect. So final thoughts here. Miniscript is just an incredible tool when it comes to having complete control over a multisig setup. And it allows things like automating your inheritance planning. So giving somebody a key that maybe right now doesn't work, but after a set amount of time or whatever your threshold is, the fund's not moving for a year, something like that, all of a sudden their key becomes valid, active, and able to access the funds. So I think there's so much you can do with it. And part of the thing that's a little bit intimidating is the freedom, is that you can do so much. And that's why Nunchuk has put in place a number of templates that you can default to and tinker with. But just know that the possibilities are truly endless, and there's even much more than what they've initially got here. And I'm sure you're going to see even more features and templates. And as you saw, if you're familiar, you'd be able to basically import any Miniscript setup that you wanted on your own. So super awesome to see Nunchuk doing this. They are continuously adding new incredible features. And as I'll say it before, and I've said it again, but when it comes to on-chain Bitcoin, this has got to be the most fully featured mobile wallets that I have ever seen. So highly recommend. Go back and watch the old Nunchuk videos, watch the Tapsigner video, and know that you can also use things like the cold card and a whole bunch of other hardware in tandem with not only Nunchuk for regular wallets, but with this Miniscript as well. So keep on learning and keep diving down those rabbit holes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do like, sub, share, all those things. They help a ton. And of course, if you need additional help in your Bitcoin learning journey, you need some hand holding, go over to btcsessions.ca/learn. And there you're going to find a bunch of different default tutorials, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. You can also dive deeper with the playlists available. And at the bottom of the page, if you need one-on-one premium help, making sure that your setup is rock solid and secure, reach out to my team at bitcoinmentor.io, where you can book packages and individual sessions and get yourself set up for good. With that, I'm out. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This was your daily session.